going to show you guys the tutorial for a natural makeup look. So taking the principles of what you guys have learned, a lot of people ask me, how do we make this look work for us for the daytime, for a lighter look? Because a lot of the looks that you guys will learn and practice in class are heavier, because I want you guys to learn the principles. But you can translate the same technique into many very, very, very soft looks. So we're going to do a soft, natural, radiant kind of a look on her. I'm going to first now start with the Anastasia Dewy set. It's a setting spray, but I like to use it as an initial kind of a spray as well to get that glow onto the face. So I'm going to spray some of that onto her face. And I'm just going to wipe that across her entire face. And then I'm going to take some of my Glam Glow Starter. It's a mega illuminating moisturizer. And I'm going to apply that all over her face. So I'm going to start with that neck also, because you want to make sure that you're doing all areas. If her chest was showing, I would take it down to wherever her skin is showing. MJ, look this side, please. So nicely kind of blend that into her face. I'm a fan of this moisturizer because it has like an illuminator in it. So I find it great for not so much skincare. I use it more like for my skin prep. So a lot of skin products, it's interesting to see how some work primarily for skin purposes, and some of them are products that I feel work better right before makeup. So this is one of those moisturizers I do like to use right before I start makeup. I blend it into the skin. As you can see, this product immediately adds this kind of shine happening on her face. Now I'm going to start with the eyes, because that's what I do every time I do any kind of eye makeup, soft or louder. And I'm going to mix the porcelain beige Tarte Shape Tape with the light medium Tarte Shape Tape. And I'm taking a MAC face blending brush, the smaller one. You will see the number on the screen. And I'm going to apply this all over her lid. So close, MJ. And for this tutorial, I'm going to show you another softer way of applying eyeliner that can work very well for the day. So I've applied it all over her lid. And I'm just going to brush her eyebrows up right now. I'm going to use a color from the Too Faced palette. There's the Natural Nudes, and I'm using Maple, which is like a closer to her tone of hair, mixed with Truffle, which is slightly brown, but I want to keep it more lighter this time. So I'm just going to fill in the gaps right now. Like I taught you guys in the initial demo, I'm going to start from the outside and then just go closer to the front. And when I go to the front, I'll do the bottom first and kind of shade it up. I like this brush to use for eyebrows, because you can, when you drag it up, because it's a slanted, it's a long flat brush, it evenly can help in doing the brows. All right, I'm going to mix the same mixture and go to the other brow, starting always from the outer edge. And then the bottom here, and then dragging it up like that. Okay. Just going and filling the gaps. You're going to come back to the eyebrow, so I'm not going to finish it yet. I've just given myself a soft structure, and I'm now going to brush this further. Brushing the brow after you've filled in kind of helps in blending a lot of that color and making it seem more natural here. right? Just clean with my finger there. Now I'm going to use as the base of this eye Huda Beauty's matte and melted eyeshadows, and I'm using Private Jet, which is like this kind of a peachy, like a peachy color. And I'm going to use an eye shadow blending brush, just taking some on my brush, and I'm going to paint that all over her lid. So you guys have seen, or you will further see as I do demos, or in the demos that you have already seen, that I always use some kind of a base, right? For the eye, it's usually my gel eyeliners. And you could do this step with a gel eyeliner as well in a very light, soft color. I do like these as well, especially when I'm doing a softer eye. And I think it's a quick way of getting a nice wash of color on the eye. So I'm taking some more. I'm gonna add one more layer. These are long lasting, easy to use. So I do like these also to do a quick eye on myself or my clients, models, etc., depending on celebrities, depending on what kind of a look I'm going for. And I do love this color because it's a very soft kind of a peachy color. So blending that nicely all over the lid, making sure that we're blending it up to the crease and out, so it's kind of fading as it goes towards the outer edge of the eye. Open, close. Blended that, right? All over her eye. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take the same Too Faced palette. This is a great palette to get all those browns in that I work with a lot when I'm doing transition colors, etc. So I'm just gonna take Maple from it and I'm gonna blend it towards the outer edge, just softly. And I'm gonna go ahead now with a flat brush, take Swan from the same palette, which is like a matte color, matte white color, and add that to the brow bone a bit. I feel mattes work well when you're doing a natural daytime look. So much metallic on the face is not necessarily a good idea because it tends to shine too much, doesn't look very daytime to me. So I do like to work with more matte colors or very soft metallics for the day. Just adding that color to the brow bone, and I'm using now the same brush I applied the Maple with. I'm just gonna brush it over, softly mixing the color and Maple in the socket with the Swan that we've just applied to the brow bone. Now I'm going to take a small brush, and now for the eyeliner, I'm going to dip this brush. It can be an eyeliner brush, it can be the same brush similar to this. I'm going to dip this into Truffle. And now to give her some soft definition on the eye, I'm just going to dab it on my hand first. I'm going to draw a line like I would an eyeliner with this powder. Open. What I love about using powders for eyeliner is that, can you see, it gives a very soft definition to the eye. You can close now. Just gonna blend that on the root of her eye. So I want to give her a very soft kind of a definition. I don't want any gel or liquid kind of an effect on the eye. I want to keep it very nice and soft. So I'm gonna just draw this open and look down. Brown kind of a shade all over the root of the eye, as I would do with a liquid line, and blend it. So close, and I've used a dark brown. You can go even lighter. So the idea is to take these rules and techniques and use different colors. So it could be even a lighter, softer color if you feel that you are, I don't know, a teacher going to Montessori in the morning, or a mother dropping her kid to school and you want very soft definition. The great thing about using your eyeshadow powders for liner is you have a huge range of color. You don't need to buy a separate something, and you can still give that nice kind of definition. Close. which I've done by using this powdered color. Now I'm going to go ahead and add just a little hint of sheen on the eye, and for that I'm going to use MAC's Sweet Heat eyeshadow. It's slightly metallic. I'm going to just take some on my brush here, and I'm taking it off on my hand predominantly, and just in the center of her eye I'm going to add just a little bit. So the interesting thing when I do the natural makeup demo is that we're using different principles from what we've learned. So say when we blended that whole Huda color on her eye, that peachy kind of a color, and did a little wash of maple on the sides, it was following the smoky kind of technique. Then we've done like a slight shine here on the center of her lid, and that could be following a slight skill of the halo eye that you guys have seen. So it's all about taking those certain principles and applying it to different kinds of makeup with varying degrees of intensity. Now I've applied that, I'm going back in with my Truffle from the Too Faced palette eyeshadow, and I'm just darkening that line next to the root of her lash a little bit. Right? And now I'm going to take my mascara and I'm going to apply a nice swipe of mascara on her lash, which is already curled, so I'm not curling it. Otherwise you would, if someone has a flatter lash or doesn't really have a lot of length or curl to the lash, then you would curl your lashes before you did this step. And now up. Just make sure the wand doesn't hit the top part of the eye, which can happen because she has lesser eye space, and that can easily happen, which is why I'm pulling the skin away from her lash. Open. And another thing I'm going to do is anywhere where it's hit the top part of the eye, just take a dry bud with nothing on it. Just here we've had a little, and just remove it. Remove the excess here. So now I'm going to mix some MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NC15 with some Bobbi Brown Skin Foundation in Ivory 0.75. And I'm going to mix some Wonder Glow in there by Charlotte Tilbury, just mixing all of that together, and I'm going to start applying to her skin. So I'm going to use the brush to buff this into her face. In a lot of the other tutorials you've seen me do color correction first. On MJ I'm doing the reverse. I'm going to apply the foundation layer and then go ahead and do the concealing and color correction, because with fairer skin, and the reason why I'm showing you all tones of skin into the tutorials is with fairer skin you can do it on top as well, especially fairer skin that doesn't have a ton of discoloration, and tones like her skin tone tends to have maybe broken capillaries a little bit. Rosacea actually can end up happening more than pigmentation. So for that, like I said, if she had a very red face, just turn it more this side. If she had a red face, I would then add a green color corrector. But as far as pigmentation is concerned, a lot of their color correction can be done after this layer of foundation as well. So it's all about looking at the client's face, their own set of tone, skin issues, etc., and then changing what you're going to do accordingly. So I'm just buffing this into her face well, making sure I'm doing the same thing on her neck. Just turn this head a little bit. I'm going to take the smaller sponge, put it in the same mixture, and also go close to her under eye. So just doing the sides of her nose, making sure that it's gone everywhere that it needs to go. We're going to check under the chin also. Just look up, MJ. Just really buff it everywhere. Right? And I'm gonna now go ahead and use this in the areas where I feel there needs to be more correction. So around her mouth a little bit, I'm gonna buff it. And I'm gonna buff it under her eye. Just buffing it in these areas well. And you always drag it down, so never just like a semicircle, you take it down to the cheek as well, so it blends seamlessly into the rest of the face. Pull your nose down a little bit, sweetie. Just make them do this as well, so you get all the corners of the nose also. I'm going to take my smaller brush sponge and just go in the delicate areas on the side of the nose, the side of the eye, just on the side here a little bit I'm adding. Just look this side, up again. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a dusting of my Laura Mercier setting powder. I'm going to use a fan brush for this, okay? I'm using a Sephora fan brush, but any other MAC, etc. would work as well. But I'm using a fan brush to kind of feather this because I don't want it to look like it's really powdery or cakey. I want this to look more seamless, right? So just dusting it everywhere. So the fluffier the brush, the less dense a brush, the lesser the product that is applied on the face, and the more dense a sponge or a brush, the more product goes on to the skin. So we want, because this is a natural daytime makeup look, we wanted to keep it nice and softer. So now I'm going to use the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal, and I'm going to just add this to the high points of her cheek here, just here, her cheekbone. And then I'm going to do a little bit right on top. So you know that C I spoke about, almost like the letter C? Look this side, MJ. So I'm going to do a little bit here. And then really nicely, I'm going to take my sponge and buff it into her face. Because like I said, I don't want it to seem like it's shimmering highlighter standing out like a powder. So I will take my damp beauty blender, kind of buff that into her skin. And now I'm going to take my Kat Von D contour palette, and I'm taking my MAC brush here. I'm going to take the center color and I'm going to create very soft powder contouring happening here softly. And always remember, it's like on top of like. So I had to put on the Laura Mercier before you would do any kind of powder on the face, because otherwise it would just stick to the face because it'd be wet. I'm going under her jawline very lightly again. Again, it has to all be very soft and light because we're doing a very soft look on her. I'm going at the sides of her nose as well with the same brush, just connecting it back to her crease here. And then I'm going to take a small sponge, which we've already used, to clean around the eye. And I'm just, with whatever residue is on the sponge, I'm just cleaning on the sides of the nose, kind of soft, kind of contouring. So you can see the contouring is very soft. The highlighting is nice and soft as well. And I'm going to use my Spice Lip Pencil. I'm going to just stretch your lip, MJ, like that, like you're smiling. I'm going to lightly line her lip. Not do too much contouring under either, because we remember this is a softer look. But I do always line my lips when I'm doing lipstick. But ideally I prefer when I'm doing a full-on lip to make sure that the lip liner is there. So I'm just dragging this in the inner corners, the same color. Stretch again, MJ. Making sure that's on the sides of the lip also. And now I'm going to mix in my color, which is kind of sexy by MAC. It's this nice peachy color, very similar to what we did on the eye, because I want this to be a very tonal look. I'm loving those right now, stretch. And in general, I feel tonal looks never go out of fashion. Just using the same tone all over on the eye, the lip. It's an age-old trick, and I love to do that in a daytime look. I feel it just looks very pretty. It's like either to do a complete pink or do a peachy kind of a brown look. For this natural daytime look, we're doing actually a very peachy brown look here on her. So I'm just going to finish that lip. So now I'm going to take my Inglot 10S brush, which I do love quite a bit, and I'm going to dip it into my maple and truffle and start to create a slight warmthness on the corner of her eye. I'm just going back and forth, almost like a V here. One of my teachers used to call it the duck's beak. It's like a beak going straight and then towards the socket. So this line is just following your eyeliner, and this line is you following your socket. And I'm going to do that the other side as well. Open, just to create some depth here. Both sides. Right, keep your eye open now. You can look into the camera and keep your eyes open. I'm just going to take the maple now and just drag it a little bit on top again from the same palette. I'm blending that out. You can keep your eyes open so one can see where it's going to be placed in real time when they're watching you. I'm going to take my Maybelline Great Lash Mascara. Look this side now, up again. And also go under her lash now, on her lower lash now. Where they go. And I'm going to just take some Laura Mercier on a fluffy brush and put it on the tips of the lower lash so that it doesn't hit the skin we've created under that. Now I'm gonna take my Narcissist palette, unfiltered, and I'm gonna use Undefeated by it, which is like a more peachy kind of a blush smile on her cheek. Look towards me, Angel. Keep smiling and looking towards me. And I'm in the center of her lip going to add MAC's Saint No Angel lip gloss. Just keep looking here. And now to finish her eyebrows, I'm going to take some extra hold spray from Osis. It's a strong hold hairspray. I'm spraying it on the brush here, and I'm going to just brush up her brows because I want the look of these to be more feathery. That's something that's also trending currently. I don't like to do it as much as people show it on Instagram. It's a little crazy, I feel, for real time, but I do love a brushed up brow, and doing it with an extra hold spray is a great way to get some definition that holds. And just here I feel the eyebrow requires a little bit more. I'm going to mix my truffle and maple like I did initially. Just add a little bit more definition. And then just brush it up again. Now I'm going to just take my setting spray. Open your eye now. I'm just going to dab that onto the face so it blends well. And that would be a finished, fun, kind of a tonal look that one would do in a natural way using the same principles that you've learned from the different tutorials to kind of just do an eye that's softer, less defined, something that you could wear in the day, something you could wear without gloss as well. If you feel something needs to be omitted, it can be omitted depending on what you're planning on doing. But it's a soft, fresh kind of a look. Hope you guys learned something, and looking forward to you guys showing me your skills.